After 3,000 plus miles of hiking on the Arizona Trail, I've certainly learned from my mistakes on what to bring and what not to bring. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what I'm going to bring on my 5th go-around of the Arizona Trail. While some may call it an addiction or an obsession, I call it a passion. So this will be my 5th through hike of the Arizona Trail, and this is what I'm going to be bringing along with me. So we'll start with the big three. So the big boy is my backpack. This is the Light AF 40 liter, and it's a framed backpack. I really like this backpack, mainly because of the straps and the awesome kangaroo pouch that it has at the bottom that I can put in trash and stuff like that. Some of the other big three that I'll be bringing will be my tent is a trash bag, or at least it'll appear to be a trash bag. So the tent that I'm going to be using, I really despise tents and I prefer to cowboy camp, but I'm going to use the Lunar Solo. I'll be honest with you, I don't like this tent, but it's what I have, and so I'm going to carry it because it's what I have. On a normal through hike of the Arizona Trail, I wouldn't bring a tent, but this is a spring through hike attempt, and there's a lot more moisture out on the trail, so that's something that I have in the back of my head, that I don't want to have snow or rain on me. It did a lot of snow and raining in the last couple years, into the March and even into April, and I just want to be protected from that. So very light tent. I believe it's around 1 pound ish. It's obviously not a freestanding tent, and it will require a trekking pole, which is all right. I hike with one trekking pole. So tent, Lunar Solo, 1-person tent. I don't recommend it, but it's what I have. So that'll bring me on to the next piece of gear, which is my sleeping bag. And this is my Mountain Hardwear Flame. I believe this is the Phantom Flame. And this is a 15-degree, -9 Celsius sleeping bag. As you can see, I've used it a lot. Got some patches and stuff like that, but it's tried and tested. So it's definitely something that I've used before, and it's worked perfectly for me. The Arizona deserts get very cold, very, very cold at night. And I think people are generally surprised on how cold it gets here in the desert. So I think that this will keep me warm. I did have another option that I considered on bringing, which was my Enlighten Equipment Enigma 20 quilt. But you know, for the extra weight, I will take the warmth. Like I said, most likely I'm going to be cowboy camping a lot, so this will allow me to do that a little bit more comfortably. So that is going to be my sleeping bag for this trip. Okay, I am on my pad, or one of my pads. This is my hip pad because I'm a side sleeper, so I just took a section of a thermarest. I believe I cut this out of somebody else's on the Florida Trail. It may have been Amelia, I believe. Thank you, Amelia. And then this will be my full size sleeping pad. This is the Thermarest Z-Lite. It's what I had. I prefer a closed foam cell pad because everything here in Arizona is sharp, and it punctures stuff. And the worst part about it, getting a puncture, is that there's not a lot of water where you can just submerge your your blow up inflatable pad to see where the hole is. So water is an issue when you're trying to fix that stuff, because you need to put water on it to figure out where the hole is. So I generally just go with the closed foam cell pad for that reason. A lot of people do a combination of the two, and that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, you should do what works for you, but in my experience, this is where you want to be. You want to be in foam cell, but to each their own, right? I'll have a poly creepo. This is going to be my ground sheet, right? Very simple ground sheet. Weighs absolutely nothing, but it will protect my gear and stuff like that. It's going to protect my sleeping bag if I cowboy camp, which will be probably more times than not. So definitely worth itself in weight. Okay. Additionally, I will have a pillow, which is just your Sea to Summit. I believe this is the deluxe version, so it's got a little bit of felt. It's a little bit more comfortable on your face. I've had this forever, and I'm hoping that it will last me for forevermore. I think I got this maybe 10 years ago, and it still works perfectly. It's called the Premium Regular Aeros Pillow, Sea to Summit. I don't know the weights on these things, but I will tell you an overall base weight of what I'll be working with on this through hike, okay? So, then we're going to get over to food systems. So you can see all the stuff sticking in this stuff now. We're not even really near sharp stuff, but stuff sticks into things. So that's why closed foam cell will pay out dividends for you. So, food system. My trusty little handy dandy spork, Light My Fire titanium. You know, it's light. How light? I don't know. It's what I had. It's what I have, and it's the only spork that I've ever had. So this will continue on another through hike. I've had this for 10 years plus. All right, so pot. Not the smoking kind, but the cooking kind. So I'm going to have the 1100 milliliter Toaks pot. I like this because it comes with the lid, which allows me to cook things like eggs or steaks or anything food-wise when I get into town to save me money opposed to going to a restaurant. Sometimes I will cook my own food on this. On the Via Alpina trail that I did in Europe last year, I used this a lot. And a lot of people looked at me like I was crazy, but yeah, you can cook quite a bit into this, and I enjoy it because of that. So 1100 milliliter, larger than your standard pot size. I think most hikers are probably in that 600, 700 milliliter. But this is what I have, and I like it. It's worked for me, and I will take it again on another through hike. For stoves, I will have the very ultralight BRS 3000. Now, these things are crap. I'll be honest with you. They're not made well, but they are cheap, they are light, and if you take care of them, they will take care of you. The important things of taking care of it is to make sure you never cross the threads when screwing this onto your gas canister. That is the most common way to destroy these, because this is just some type of cheap aluminum which makes it light, but it can easily be destroyed by cross-threading it, screwing it onto your gas canister. So I believe this weighs right around an ounce. Super light, 15, 17, 18, 19 bucks. I don't know, things have gone up. I bought this way back in the day for maybe $10, $11 or something like that. The price has gone up on them, but it works. So that's what I will be carrying. I will be carrying a small gas canister that's in here right now. That won't be added up into my base weight, but that's what I'll be carrying. And then my little Toaks container, it allows for everything to be kind of put together in one little spot, so I can just kind of grab it and go, which makes it very convenient for stowing and stuff like that. So that is my cooking system. Okay, now with cooking comes water. So how much water am I going to be carrying on this trail? Well, it depends on the section, but my capacity is going to be 3 liters. That's going to be my capacity. I generally go southbound, and on a southbound hike, it is drier, 100% dependent on monsoon season. Big shout out to Leapfrog Cafe. If you've ever done an East Coast hike, fresh grounds, he's the man. So depending on the season, it can be very dry, it can be very wet. In the spring season, it's generally wetter than it is in the fall season. And that is the season that I'll be hiking this year, is going to be in the spring season. So I'm just gonna carry 3 liters. And if I need more water, I will, I'll buy a bottle. But I'm not gonna carry or schlep another thing around with me for that just in case moment. You know, if I have water issues, I'll be strategic, and I will eat at water sources, and I will use those water sources as lunch spots, springs, water cache, water collectors, wherever the case may be. I will be using those to be my cook spot, so I have water when I leave. As you can see, I will be rocking the Sawyer Squeeze water filter. Now, this isn't the mini or the mini squeeze. This is the regular Sawyer filter. The mini and the squeeze, they generally don't last through a through hike here in Arizona. A lot of our water is silty, calcium based, and destroys filters. So, you know, back flush, pre-filter your water with a buff or a mesh screen that you will find at some of the water sources or springs along the trail. I've never had a problem with these. I know a lot of people could talk down negative about them, and to each your own, but it's done me good. So that's what it's gonna do me again, is good. Then I have my little ditty bag, so to speak. You know, this has earbuds, it has my poo shovel, sanitizer, and all my toiletries and stuff like that. The one thing I don't have with me here is my power bank. As you can tell, I do social media and I'm a digital creator, and so I will need a bigger power bank. I will be carrying a 20,000 milliamp power bank from Inu. I will try to put a picture of it up on the screen now. Ding! And I've carried this on my through hike of the Via Alpina in the Alps last year. I dropped it down a mountain and it still worked. So I'm a fan of this product. This will be my food bag. It's just a Z-Packs DCF, I think, or Dyneema. I'm not sure. Once again, it's what I have. I'm not going to be doing any food protection against animals on this through hike. It's not that big of a worry. Yes, we have bears. Yes, they are here. Will you see one? Probably not. It'd be awesome if you did, but realistically, you're probably not going to see a bear. So you don't really have to worry about bears or anything like that. So an Ursack or a bear canister really isn't necessary to bring. I will probably tie it up, clip it, and put it in a bush, or just sleep with it. Your biggest fear with animals on this trail is the kangaroo mouse. All the animals like salt. There's not much water out here, so you know your sweaty things are at risk. You know, your trekking poles, if you have cork on them or the little wrist straps or anything like that, make sure that they're not just laying flat on the ground. You know, stick them in the ground so they're up in the air, and that you don't have to worry about the animals or rodents chewing them apart. If you're an Osprey backpack holder, the zero gravity little mesh things that they have, are very commonly chewed apart because it absorbs your sweat and stuff like that. So be aware of that when you're camping, that animals are looking for water, and they will take your sweat and chew that up, and whatever they can get, they will take. Okay, so that is that. For tent stakes, you know, this is a big thing out here in the desert, and you should be aware of it. It's sandy. It's also very rocky. So I've found that the MSR groundhogs, the minis, are very good at getting in the ground. For example, I mean, this is just some really rocky stuff here, but you know, I can get that in. It takes quite a bit to pull it out, but I enjoy these stakes here in Arizona. I think they work. They work on the AZT. Not to say that other tent stakes won't work, but I think you'll have a harder time with putting them in the ground than you will with these. So MSR mini groundhog stakes, I'm a fan for the AZT, and you should too. All right, then we have just some little things in my pocket here. These are the last little pieces to the puzzle. It's gonna get cold in the desert. Some gloves because it gets cold in the desert. And these are just some basic Under Armour gloves. They may be football. I don't really know. Once again, it was what I have. I'm a dirtbag, and I'm not gonna buy new gear for a hike. I'm just gonna go with what I have. The more you hike, it seems like the less you care about what you're carrying. All right, I will have a headlamp. This is just a 700 lumen or 750 lumen Energizer headlamp. This will be for when I get at camp and stuff like that. I don't night hike, okay? Why don't I night hike? Because everything in the desert comes alive at night. Yes, okay, you'll be able to see animals maybe and stuff like that, but you can see animals too if you hike up into darkness. When you hike through darkness, you know, you are out there when animals are more active, hunting and stuff like that. And so, you know, I'd rather be in camp, and I want to see the trail in the daylight. It is a very beautiful trail, and I want to see the progression of it in the daytime, not in the night. I really like that dawn and dusk hiking times, but there's a very fine line of getting to camp at dark and getting to camp when it's getting dark. And I like to get there when it's getting dark, not when it is dark. So I don't plan on using this for hiking. These batteries should last me the whole way to the terminus, okay? Buff. This was my buff for when I climb Mont Blanc. This is my Chamonix Mont Blanc buff. And, you know, I'll use this in the morning for sure. And whenever I get to water sources, I will soak this and I will put this around my neck or my head. I also have long hair, so if I get to water, I will absorb that into my head to cool me down. And lastly, this will be my secondary or first level of filtering. You can stretch this out, you can put it over your water bottle, and you could filter the water via this. I find it to be a very useful multifunctional tool. For as little as it weighs, it's not that big deal of carrying it. So it's kind of like a bug head net, right? Everybody's like, should I bring a bug head net? On the Arizona Trail, the answer is no. There's not really bugs that bite you. There's gnats and things like that. So if gnats annoy you, they'll be flying towards your eyes and your ears and stuff like that because they want moisture. If those annoy you, bring that bug net. It's 1 ounce or less. Not that big of a deal. It's probably less than 1 ounce, to be fair. So just bring it. It's no big deal, okay? So now that gets me to the empty bag. I don't have anything left in here, which is good. But so what is my base weight? You know, I don't really care, but because I figured you guys would care, I went ahead and I weighed everything. So everything, all this stuff that I'll be carrying, total weight is going to be 10 pounds. That is base weight. That's with no water. That's with no food, and that's not including that gas canister that was accidentally in here. Okay, so that is my base weight. It's 10 pounds, all right? that means that, you know, I have 3 liters of water. That would be 6.6 pounds of additional weight. That would be 16.6 pounds, and then roughly about 2 pounds of food per day. 1.5 to 2 pounds of food per day is the average weight of food. So I'm gonna be, you know, on a full tilt kit, 5 days food, 3 days water. We'll be at 36.6 pounds. That's with everything. That's full tilt, 5 days food, 3 liters of water, and all of my kit. I will be bringing video equipment that is not in this equation, so keep that in mind. I will have a drone. I'll have this GoPro that I'll be shooting on, and so that will bring up my weight another, I believe, around 2 pounds for all the video gear. But yeah, that's what I'm carrying on my 5th through hike of the Arizona Trail. It's crazy to think 5 times I'll be doing this hike, but I love it. It's in my backyard, it's easily accessible, and it's a great warm-up hike for a long hiking year, kind of like the Florida Trail, which I did earlier last year. And I'll be doing videos on that in the future, so, you know, stay tuned to that. Hit that like button and the subscribe button if you want to see more of that. And that gets me to my next thing. If you're interested in seeing what I'm going to be doing the rest of this year, what adventures I have planned, I will be going overseas. I will be going to Slovenia, Italy, and Spain for sure, and maybe Pakistan or Georgia or Nepal. I'm not really sure just yet on those last 3, but stay tuned for that video where we kind of talk about that and what the future plans have for me in 2025. Thank you very much for sticking around for this episode. I greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on trail. I will be the guy going southbound. That's right. I'm going southbound in the springtime. And that is just to get some documented numbers on this trail. I'm really interested in how many people are actually heading northbound every year, because hikers don't fill out the trail registers or all the information online. I'm not sure about the numbers if they're accurate, so I'm going to go southbound to obtain all that numbers. So I will 100% see you on trail, guys. I will be starting in Sunflower in early March, and I will be finishing the AZT on probably around April 1st. And that's not an April Fool's joke. So hope to see you guys out there. Happy trails, guys. This is Calves saying keep calm and hike on. Peace.